Hey, everybody, tuning into the Danger Zone podcast, episode 3, with me, Vince, and Christopher Shields. So, we jumped right into it today. Buckle up because this is going to be a fun one. After discussing it with each other, we decided we wanted to do a podcast that tackled depression and we went all the way to suicide. So, yeah, this is super happy, get your smiles ready podcast. But it was something that we both felt was important to do. I mean, we wanted to talk about something that so many people deal with, whether it's chronically or something that you deal with in your life because of the loss of a family member or a pet, or you have a seriously traumatic experience, you lose a job. I mean, it could be one of countless things. So it doesn't have to be a chronically depressed person or someone that suffers from something along those lines. So anyway, it's something so many people go through. Nobody wants to talk about because they're ashamed of it or they're afraid of the reaction of other people. They don't want to be looked at differently. I mean, there's so many reasons to not talk about it. So we were like, fuck that. We're going to talk about it. We're going to bring it out of the shadows and we're going to try to normalize this kind of thing. And that was the whole point of doing this kind of a podcast. We wanted to normalize it. We want it to be something that people are comfortable talking about. And it's something that people should be talking about and they need to be talking about. So that was the goal. I hope we achieved it a little bit. We definitely did because we fucking talked about this shit for a little while. And I hope somebody takes away something from this and you are nicer and a kinder person to those around you. So anyways, without any further ado, I hope you enjoy the Danger Zone podcast, episode 3. Highway to the danger zone. Gonna take it right into the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. I think it's gonna get kind of heavy and super serial. But then it turns into zombies somehow at the end of the podcast.
Yeah,
so it doesn't really fucking
matter.
So let's say anybody that doesn't want to listen to what the serious version of this podcast, skip ahead like 30 minutes and I swear to God it'll be about fucking clowns jumping out of fucking tiny cars and the end of the world or some shit. I have no idea.
Yeah, those go hand in hand.
I don't want to fucking talk about clowns, by the way, so I don't know how that just happened.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll pass on clowns.
That's a super hard pass. Super hard. So let's sit down and talk about something that everybody loves to discuss. Depression.
Also, side note, remind me at the end to tell you my clown story.
Oh, god damn it. There's no way I'm going to remember that.
Okay,
but
maybe I will.
We should probably end with a clown story. That's full circle.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Damn. I feel like talking about clowns is going to put
my clown story relates to depression, so it's perfect.
I feel like if people aren't depressed, if they hear a clown story, they immediately will be. So it's perfect. Yeah. So if you want to fast forward to the clown story, get depressed, go back to the beginning, and then hear us talk about your current depressed state.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking perfect. I like it.
Two guys completely unqualified to talk about this subject, but that's the whole point of this, right? Is the average guy's point of view.
Yeah. Wow, dude. Oh, thanks for giving me that average nudge. I feel fucking good now. Woo!
Slightly off center from average, one way or another.
At least. So, anyways, no, I feel like it's something that a lot of people deal with. Probably more people deal with than are vocal about. So I feel like it's something that a lot of people can relate to. And even if you're not like a chronically depressed person, like everybody goes through something in their life where they're having some sort of traumatic experience that will at least induce some sort of momentary depressive state, which is
for sure
a fucking terrible feeling. This came from hearing somebody else on a platform talk about depression and all that stuff and even suicidal thoughts. And I thought, it was a really good talk and it was good to hear somebody else talk about it. So I thought we could. And on top of that, I had like one of those moments in the gym today where I was like, why is my head so fucked up today? Like, it was terrible. I mean, I even texted you about it, and it was nothing specific. It's just like, what? Just my brain.
You just feel it.
Brain was not functioning. I could not pull myself out of that little death spiral of feeling shitty. So, I don't know.
No, it's super. It's real, you know, and I think that's why there's a stigma to it. One of the reasons, anyways, because people that haven't been to that dark place or that kind of, you know, through something that heavy, you can't see the struggle on the outside, and so there's a tendency to dismiss it as being, it's just in your head, or, you know, make light of it. And no, man, it's super real. And
yeah, 100%. I know, I mean, I know several people that don't get it at all. And I know even myself, for a long time, maybe didn't recognize it in myself, or me not having like the extreme version that some other people have, and then, not being as empathetic as I could with them, or understanding their point of view, or like, why haven't you gotten out of bed for 4 days? Like, what is going on right now, Yeah. So, I mean, there are obviously varying degrees to all of that, but yeah, it's tough. So, I mean, what kind of things do you experience when you're going through, like, one of those, I mean, you can, on a daily basis, I know some days are worse than others, but...
It's weird, I've been depressed my whole life since I can remember. I had a pretty, a crazy childhood, and I always just assumed that that's just me. That's just my personality. I'm kind of dark and quirky in that way, and I try to hide it and pretend to be otherwise, and I would really beat myself up for not being more like the other people. I wanted to be the really charismatic, the guy that people thought I was.
Yeah.
And I would hold myself to some kind of made up standard, and trying to see myself through other people's eyes, and
that's a tough thing.
Yourself up.
That's a tough thing too.
It's just a cycle,
Even when you feel that way, and then you try and you put forth the energy to try to be that charismatic person that you think you're supposed to be, or anything like that, coupled with the fact that you're already having a hard time, is fucking exhausting. Like, you just expelled all this energy to kind of create this facade so that you can assimilate kind of to an extent. And then you're already beat up before that, and now you've got nothing left. And you're just fucking just wasted.
And to top it off, I think a lot of introverts that try and force themselves to be more extroverted, they feel almost more shitty about themselves. They feel like they're trying to be somebody they're not. They feel like a fraud, and then it just snowballs out of control, and you end up just wanting to stay in bed all day and just say, fuck it, I'm not doing this for, I'm done. And
I mean, it's a hard thing, especially in today's society, with the way that things are set up, and networking and social media and all of that, and globalization. It's hard to hide in your corner and be a part of this global market of ideas and everything like that. And then when you don't interact with all of that, people are kind of like, hey, where'd you go? What are you doing? Be like, dude, I just need to fucking recharge for as long as it takes, man. And that's all good.
Yeah. I think most of my close friends that, they know how I am, and they kind of let it go.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Just like, when you and Josh were at that concert last month. It was a month ago, wasn't it? Something like that.
God.
And I would just kind of disappear for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And just kind of go walk around by myself and do my own thing, and then come back. Just those little breaks. It's just, you just need it. You just need to, the anxiety builds up, and you need to just go away, do your own thing, calm down, kind of find your own happy place. And
yeah. And I mean, I know I had like with you and stuff like that, like, I mean, over time, it's easier to recognize and for me to just be like, oh, yeah, you need to go do that. Or if you're at home and I'm like, hey, you want to chat? You're like, no, man, I can't do those things right now. I got to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
recluse that shit up. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got that. But I mean,
Yeah,
before,
man, and it's great having people like understand that and not push you about it and just be like, okay, yeah, I got you, man, no worries.
yeah. Well, and you know what the hard thing is before for me, and I've tried to work on this a bunch, is I would be probing and be like, wait, well, what's wrong? Do you need something? And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And it really just gets to a point where you just have to just recognize, okay, this person needs this moment. Nothing's really necessarily wrong. And you know that because of our relationship, if you actually need to talk about anything, we're good. So when you
yeah,
say something like that, it's time for me to just be like hands off, not even like press you about anything and say, yeah, go do what you have to do, recharge until you're done. And, you know, if you need anything, then
yeah,
that
yeah.
is what it is. But I mean, that's a weird thing. That was a weird thing for me to have to learn of being like, oh my God, fuck. Like, am I supposed to be doing something for this person? But I mean, there are times where you definitely shouldn't be doing anything for somebody, you know? I mean, there are times you
Yep.
should too, but I mean,
I think it's a tricky line, between giving somebody their space and being there for them when they need it. And
right.
I've kind of learned that, I can't have it both ways. Either I'm going to go into my own space and be myself and kind of do my own, inner reflection, self-reflection, and kind of figure shit out on my own and come back when I'm ready to interact with the world.
Yeah.
Or you reach out for help and let somebody help you. You can't have it both ways, where you want people to constantly be there for you, but you're pushing them away.
Right.
So that's kind of the responsibility of the person that's going through whatever they're going through to recognize that also, I think.
Yeah, and that's a benefit of having like a close relationship with somebody where at this point, you know, between you and I think both ways you can recognize that what kind of moment it is. Like, is it, oh shit, you need something right now, or just the, oh, I get it. Yeah. Just
Yep, for
what
sure,
is it
man.
is. And then having that kind of relationship, we're more open to saying exactly what the fuck is going on, as opposed to
Yeah.
somebody like being ambiguous and somebody, you know, those ambiguous Facebook posts where you're like, what the fuck? I guess I'm supposed to ask, you know, about what's going
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean? Just
And some
whatever
of
it
that
is.
comes with maturity, because I'm not going to say I never did that. I tried not to, because I didn't like that. I wasn't ever comfortable being that person. But sometimes you have a couple drinks, and back in like the MySpace days, I post like a song or something onto my profile that
Oh
meant
yeah,
something to like 4 people in the world. And so you do play those games. But I
for
think as you
sure.
mature and get older, you understand that you're putting people that actually care about you through unnecessary stress, and you don't want to do that. I mean, you want those people to be there if you need them, when you need them, and
Yeah.
playing those type of games is just counterproductive for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's like the part of just being like having the outlet of whatever small or whatever group of people where you're actually being really honest about shit, because then it just allows you to not have to hide behind that kind of stuff, and you can be like, "Pfft, it's out there, and this is what's
Yeah,
going on, and this is where I'm at, and this is, you know what I mean.
yeah.
So and yeah, I
And
don't know.
I'm not talking about like the cries for help, because that's a real thing too.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think we all know people that are just attracted to drama, like to be in drama. That's just their personality, and
Yeah, there's definitely some of that, man. There's definitely
yeah.
some
So
of that.
it's I don't know. It's tough. I think everybody needs to know that there's always, whether they have friends that are able to talk to them or talk them through things, or they need to go see professionals, just even if it's just to talk to somebody, just get the shit out into the open.
Yeah.
It's super therapeutic, and
That's a huge thing that I know not everybody can do because of the cost or insurance or something like that. But going and
yeah, it's
finding,
true.
when I finally found a really good goddamn psychologist therapist, like that was one of the better things that happened, and it was just the outlet to have, and I had to meet and talk to, oh God, it's so painful. You have to go through the same story and the same issues with like
Mm-hmm.
4 different people until you finally
Yeah.
find someone where it's a balance and it works, and they're kind of uh, honest in a brutal sort of way almost, or make you rethink about things that you're saying, or just recognize things for you and all that. I mean, I know the last person that I saw, he almost never said anything to me except like little, almost like probing things of like, oh, you
Yeah.
used this word specifically, why would you do that? Like, oh shit, I don't know, man, damn it, now I gotta think about this. Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, if somebody can get out there and you can just talk, vent, and just say all of those things, like, dude, that helps so much. Hopefully, in my case at
Yeah.
least it did. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with anybody you're talking to, one of the most important things is having the right chemistry.
Yeah.
Having a good rapport. I've had probably, I don't know, somewhere in the range of like 15 different therapists in my life, and most of them I didn't really click with. A lot of them, especially being in the military, a lot of the people they send us to are right out of school.
Yeah.
And I felt right away like, oh man, I got too much shit for this person to deal with.
It's off-putting too, being in the military and then having to go and sit in front of like an army captain or army.
Mm-hmm.
What are they fucking 04s or some shit? Whatever, who gives a shit? Major. And you're like, all right, no matter what, you try to put up this facade of not having this barrier between the two of you, but you know it still kind of exists just because it's been fucking beat into you for years. So
For
even
sure.
though you're trying to be just honest to a fault, there's still like the little thing in the back of your mind that you don't even acknowledge. You're like, well, I'm not going all the way there. I'll give you 80%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a huge thing for me, was getting to find an actual civilian doctor and not having to do all of that. I know this is like specific to our situations, but yeah, that did make a fucking huge difference.
Yeah,
for
sure.
me.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable, and if the environment, whether it's because of a military rank situation or, just not being comfortable with the person, whether they, intimidate you or are a little too hands off or hands on, for your comfort level.
It's a tough thing too, because you kind of like for me, you have to find someone that you have like a good rapport with, that you trust. Trust, I mean, is like the biggest fucking thing when going through all of this stuff. But at the same time, you kind of don't want to find someone that's going to coddle you either, because that's too. I mean, that probably just has to do with finding a good psychologist just in general who knows what they're doing clinically. But
yeah, and you got to also remember, they're people just like us, and there's good ones and there's bad ones. There's people that do it for a career, and people that do it just, to go through the motions, because that's kind of the path that they fell into.
Yeah.
So, and when it's something as serious as your health, your physical or mental health, you have to be your own champion and make sure you're getting the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable with somebody, find somebody else. Don't waste your time. Don't waste their time, and move on. And
that's such a hard thing to do, man.
It is, but it's important. It's something that
I agree.
Finally learned, and
I'm like my own, like, I don't know, worst enemy when it comes to that. I mean, I had a great therapist. I couldn't see him anymore, and then it's been almost a year since I've seen anyone, because literally, and this is my own thing, I do not want to go through the pain of starting over, because that shit sucks. But I know in my own mind, I'm like, come on, man, you wouldn't say that to anybody else. You'd be like, you gotta go do it. You gotta go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's how paralyzing that kind of like having to go through whatever hardship or go through whatever it is and relive all of that shit. Like, it sucks, man. It fucking sucks, but it's a good thing to do. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But you know what I heard? So I don't know, man. Well, this might be a really fucked up way to say this, but I was listening to someone who was being interviewed, and this was right after like Anthony Bourdain had taken his life and everything like that. And the person said, whether or not you agree with this is whatever, but the person said that was the bravest thing. Okay, maybe that's the wrong way to say it, but it was an extremely brave act to or maybe brave's not the right fucking word, to like take his own life. It's probably the wrong way to say it. I might be like misquoting it to an extent, but the sentiment
maybe
was there.
Bold or something.
Yeah. Brave's probably not the right word, but it was something like, dude, that's a fucking scary thing to do. And this was coming from like a chronically depressed person being like, dude, I wish I would have had the balls to do something like that. Like that's a scary thing to go through and actually do it. And I just bring that up and say it for people that think on the other end of the spectrum that it's a coward's thing to do of taking your own life. Like that's not necessarily what's going on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, listen,
I mean, I'm not trying.
My personal views are like, this is all we get. This is our one shot at, if nothing else, at this life, in this world, in this existence, right?
Yeah, until we go alternate dimensions and just become astral plane travelers.
Anything's possible, but
my dude,
it's not going to be this life. So that's what kind of has kept me going, and kept me from that path.
Yeah.
Among a couple other things, of course, but I don't know, man.
And I don't mean to say it in a way to romanticize it at all. That was
I know, and I'm trying to
my intention.
Exactly.
Fuck
I know.
no. You know what I mean? But
it's different for everybody. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. Like some people might do it because they can't take the torment, the anguish of their life, and it is an escape. For other people, it's something maybe in the realm of, a final just brave act to end it. I don't know. That's never really occurred to me, to be honest. Like the bravery of it, I've always felt, and maybe this is society's general view of it that's been impressed upon myself, and I'm sure other people, that it is the coward's way out, so to speak, or quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that's a tough thing. You know what I mean? And thinking about it, it's like, man, I don't know. That's so tough that some people feel so much pain and anguish that literally they just want all of it to end. All of the good that still exists with the bad. The bad is so fucking bad. And sometimes, obviously there are people that go through circumstances, you lose a job, you're in debt, and you those things that will push you to be like, but so many of the people that do it, it's literally it's demons in your head that torment you. It's not even like I hate to even bring anyone specifically up, but like Anthony Bourdain, I mean, you could sit back all day and say, from the outsider's perspective, it looks like he has a wonderful life, and he gets to travel and try food and talk to people, and he was a jiu-jitsu badass, like doing that shit every day. Yeah. And like it, from everyone else's perspective, you'd be like, this guy has a great life, but you don't even see the misfirings in his brain that cause him to feel like in his own reality that life is fucking torturous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, I found myself thinking those exact same thoughts about him. Like, God, he had everything. He had one of the most interesting lives, of the last, hundreds of years. I mean, he's been everywhere, and he had so many people that loved him and cared about him.
Yeah, exactly.
11-year-old daughter, and so you think of like, why, how?
Yeah.
But if somebody in his situation, say, had chronic physical pain from like a neurological condition.
Oh God!
They were just in agony every day, and they
like
couldn't.
Some ALS.
They couldn't stop it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they committed that act. People wouldn't question it. They'd be like, "Oh man, that's terrible," but I understand it. It's the same thing with when you have those dark demons inside your head that just they torture you.
I mean, I almost don't know of a better way to say it, but it feels like torture. It really, really does. you
Yep.
know? And it in an imperfect way of saying it, it feels like that though. Like there's something just poking at you all the time that makes you feel this undescribable shitty pain that just isn't real to anyone except for you. You know,
Yeah.
it's only manifested in your own head. And like you said, like me and you walking around, we see Anthony Bourdain, and you're like, how could this man feel shitty? I mean, we know intellectually how he can feel shitty, you know, but just looking at the picture of his life, you're like, damn, I did not see that.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. No, I I remember when I was about 13, and I realized, whether it was from school or whatever, that one day the sun was going to blow up and our entire solar system was going to be wiped out, and
Like,
it
dude,
haunted me.
You went to the most extreme existential crisis ever, dude.
I ended up,
13.
talking to a therapist about that around that time. Like, it just,
I love that.
The whole, like, oh my God, what are we doing? What does any of this mean if everything is going to be gone? All of our achievements in human history and suffering, and
I know,
it's just going to be wiped out. It doesn't matter.
Oh, don't do that. I know.
Like, that's what I felt, and that's sort of I guess a microcosm, so to speak, for that sort of what's the point of it all?
Yeah.
Just that.
I mean, that's like a
that
huge
dread.
That's a universal giant solar system cataclysmic event type of thing. But I mean, you can even boil that down to like your daily life of, okay, like I heard a guy talking recently, and he did something that was really awesome and kind of crazy, but I really dug it. And he stopped taking away things from moments of life and really boiling it down to actual like time. And so this is like I don't know, this is like really generally speaking. And the only reason I loop this back to what you're saying about like the sun exploding and all of that is like in your daily life, I mean, you have those moments of the sun exploding where you're wasting fucking hours and minutes or whatever days of your life doing something that fucking sucks. And like the way that society is built right now is not the way that we're supposed to be living, like evolutionarily. Like, we don't have those knit tribes that we used to live in with a couple hundred people. Like, the globalization of the world and people being put into positions of jobs and stuff like that they absolutely fucking hate doing, and not interacting with society properly and all of that. Like, those are things that will send you into a depressive state. And, fuck, what was my point? God damn, I don't even smoke weed and I don't even know what the fuck. And I still get lost.
I don't know. I was following you,
God
but then
damn it.
You lost me at the end.
Son of a bitch. So, anyways, this guy started taking, like, people will say, let's say you have elderly parents or grandparents. Let's say your parents are hypothetically 87 years old. And you go, well, let's say I have 5 or so years left with my parents. 5 or so years sounds like a decent amount of time, right? I mean, it's not forever and you wish you could have more, but 5 years is 5 years. But he said, that's a lie. I don't have 5 years with my parents. I live in a state farther from them. I'll talk to them on the phone, but let's realistically say I'm going to see my parents twice a year. Let's say 3 times a year for the next 5 years. So he said, I have 10 to 15 interactions with my parents. And when you take that and you separate that from a 5-year span, those are 2 wildly different kinds of like ideas in your own mind. If you say I have 5 years with this person, but when in reality it's actually 10 instances of interaction, like that doesn't sound like a whole lot of shit, and that'll motivate you to action.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what my point was with all of
that. I don't know what your point was, but that was
I'm not sure either.
That's a stark way of
but I mean,
contrasting it.
No, but I think what my point was is like looking at life, maybe not even in that respect or that specific situation, but in being moved to action in your life today. Because if you're working that job that you hate, or you're living in that place that you don't like, or you have toxic relationships around you, like it's time to move now and try to repair those things in your life and be proactive in creating positive things around you and within your life that can hopefully like take you out of the spiral of being in a depressed state. And I say this from like, I realize depression, and I almost don't even like using that word. I wish there was like a different word that we used for like mental illness, and that sounds almost extreme, but it's
no,
but
fuck
it's
it, just
accurate.
call it what it is. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, like I know that no matter what you do or what social environment you're in, like your brain will still pull you in to that negative spiral. But if you can take those positive steps to improving your life, it may help.
yeah. Hey, you know, in the end, it doesn't matter because the sun's gonna explode and none of it really matters. So, you know,
I mean, that's true, dude.
there's always that.
I'm just saying, if there is ever...
Sometimes, honestly, that thought keeps me going in the other way. Like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna go and do whatever I want today. Because
No, that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter because everything's gonna explode and be gone.
That was the point that I should have been making, and then I said all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, literally, I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like, yeah, the sun is gonna explode, or who the fuck knows what's gonna happen tomorrow, and you should be trying to live your best, most compassionate life that you can now, and
Yeah.
that hopefully in turn will cause you to be a happier person in your own life, and then, you know, going forward and whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
Fucking sun is gonna explode.
I think one thing that I don't.
Not yet.
I really try and look at things from like a historical point of view and not get caught up in the way things are now versus the way
kind of
they used to
history?
be the good old days.
Are you talking
like
about,
just in the history of like mankind, right?
like evolutionarily back when, or like a couple hundred years ago?
Let's just go back,
just throughout time?
1,000 years, right? And you'll see what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we have that natural tendency that we romanticize the good old days and when life was simpler and
and then you died from cholera. So
yeah, at like 25, the ripe old age of 25.
Exactly.
Or
Thank God you had
20%
kids when you
of
were
women
14.
died in childbirth.
Yeah, exactly.
But now you fucking sidetracked me.
Dog.
Anyway, so I try and look at things and really be objective and think, you know, are we more depressed today because we're forced to live a life that we didn't evolve into?
Yes.
As opposed to something more natural, something more slower,
Right.
evolved type society.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
And honestly, I think
that was the point
I
was
stopped myself
eventually trying to make.
from going there because I think that's bullshit. I think life has always been hard. You know,
100%.
We think that today's lifestyle and pressures and social pressures and the globalization and all these things that we have to deal with that nobody had to deal with before make it more difficult. It makes it more tricky, and it's new, and you have to learn how to adapt socially.
Exactly. Yes.
But I don't buy that it's more difficult.
Well,
I think it's just different.
It's a different kind of difficult. Like, I can go to a fucking grocery store all day and buy anything I need, where it's like, you know, even in the Depression in the 20s, people were fucking starving, you know what I mean? Or even, or more recent than that, in Stalin's era of fucking the Soviet Union post-90s, people were dying of starvation. And that's not something that we have to deal with in the West. I mean, I can go to a grocery store all day or whatever it is, I can get food, and that's not a big deal. So, I mean, there are different kinds of trivial... Oh, I shouldn't say trivial, that's terrible. There are different kinds of things that are obstacles in our lives now that make it difficult. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah. No one's going on a wagon ride across the country or anything like that. Like that's some real hard shit. But at the same time, I don't want to trivialize things that people go through now, because it's all kind of relative. You know, you can't. I tried explaining this to somebody, and not everybody will understand because they haven't done it. But we were talking about whether or not being on a deployment is harder for the person on the deployment or the person back home. And the person argued vehemently that being on deployment obviously is worse than being back home. And I was like, maybe for an individual, it's harder being on deployment than it is for their spouse being at home. But on the other end, somebody being on deployment, just vice versa. It's like you could take two different people, throw them in a snake pit. One's going to want to fucking die because they hate snakes, and the other one might be happy as fuck because they just want to crawl around with all the serpents and shit like that. Like, literally, your own perspective creates your reality as to how difficult a certain situation is. And that has a lot, that is a probably, I don't know, caveman-ish, barbaric way of looking at depression, but that's like your own mental state of what your reality is your own reality, and no one can tell you otherwise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Anthony Bourdain of him having a great life is not true to him.
Yeah. It's it reminds me, I took this psychology of dreams class years ago.
Oh God.
At the very end of it, like,
I don't support that.
People ask me like, "Oh, so you can, tell me what such and such means in a dream?" And they had these dream books, like if this happened in your dreams, and it probably means this.
We're going
it's
full
all
woo-woo.
Completely bullshit.
Oh
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What I only thing I learned from the class is the meaning of your dreams. If there is a deeper meaning, is subjective to each person, and only the person, maybe with a little bit of guidance to dig into it, only the person that dreamt it can truly decide what it means to them.
Right.
Which, it seems kind of obvious, but no, I don't know. I used to get into that stuff a lot, and I used to, I had dream books, and I would look up, what does this mean?
And mushroom.
Yeah, maybe.
Mushroom.
I can't confirm or deny that, but
no, those are illegal. I would never do that. Sorry, Jeff Sessions, for speaking out of turn. Would never do anything illegal, Jeff. Sorry, bruh.
Yeah. Oh, he don't care about that. It's all talking points. There's no actual
Jeff cares.
Passion behind those beliefs.
First
Good
of all,
people do not smoke marijuana.
I was literally just going to say that. Jeff Sessions actually said that. For everybody out there that has never heard this, Jeff Sessions literally said, good people do not smoke marijuana.
Yeah. Like
now I want you to look to your left.
2017.
To your right. To your parents. To your grandparents. To everyone around you. There are a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah.
Getting high on the devil's lettuce.
Shit, everybody I know, just about.
God damn it! I don't support or condone
No wonder
that.
I'm fucking depressed. I'm surrounded by assholes and degenerates.
That's probably what it is. So we just took a deep dive.
It's the fucking devil's weed.
I feel like we figured out the root cause of all of your anxiety and depression. So you're welcome. You're healed now. If I was there, I would smack you in the head. I'd dunk you in water, and you'd be fucking good to go. Reborn. Born again. But yeah, man. So, like, so obviously depression, depressive thoughts, all of that stuff, it stems from, I don't know, it stems from a lot of things. I don't think, it's like a lot of things in life. It's not necessarily black or white. It's not just that your brain is fucked up, even though that's a huge cause and a root cause and all of that stuff. Like, I know my brain is fucked up, and it makes me think and do and feel stupid shit. But at the same time, the quality of life in your environment also contributes to the fact that you feel and think and do stupid fucking shit. Like, if you hate your job, if you hate your situation, if you hate where you live, if you hate your spouse, if you blah, 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 you have shitty friends, like, all of that is going to contribute to what already might exist in your head and exacerbate it. Or if you don't have, like, a predisposition to be a depressed person, you're one of those people that's not chronically depressed, but you fall into this chronic depression because of your environment, because of all those shitty things that are around you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like, even simple things too. Like, I know I had a shitty day today for at least 2 additional reasons to my head already being fucked up. I slept like shit. I went to bed late. I woke up early.
Oh, dude, that's the number one thing for most people.
Terrible. I automatically started the day off in the fucking negative. Easy.
Yep.
I ate like shit yesterday, and I didn't wake up, and I didn't eat well this morning, which is fine. I usually don't eat in the morning, whatever. But either way, I know that those two things, coupled with the fact that I already have a predisposition to my brain being a fucking asshole, like, are not gonna help me, and that will spiral me into having a shitty fucking day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do. You know, it's almost like a medical condition that, say you have, I don't know, fucking, what is
diabetes?
IBS? Is that like when people eat
poop.
cheese, they fucking fart and shit all over the place?
Well, I think that's lactose
whatever.
intolerance.
Yeah,
But
okay.
yeah, IBS is still
whatever.
shitty,
But if you're gonna,
no pun intended,
eat spicy food or whatever you can't eat, you can't really complain about having to fucking sit on the toilet for a while afterwards.
Exactly.
You have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. If you know, staying up late,
for sure,
and you have to get up, go to work early in the next morning, if you know that's gonna fuck your day up, and you're gonna miss out on going to the gym, and maybe that helps you, and you don't get that, or you eat like shit all weekend, and you go out partying, and you know,
go drinking
Monday morning you're just gonna be in it, and that's kind of on you. I mean, and, not to say that it's your fault, but you have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
And you can't expect somebody else to take care of you if you're not willing to put in the work, at least most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like...
Everybody falls off the wagon. Everybody fucks up and needs a hand to get back on track.
For sure.
I get that. But if you're constantly relying on people, that's where you're fucking up.
Yes. I mean, there has to be some sort of personal responsibility for, like, what you're doing within your life that contributes to your depression or your shitty state of mind, or has a positive impact. And I know that I did all of the things that are negatively going to contribute to me feeling shitty today. And so, like, me being able to sit back and take stock on those things and say, well, fuck, man, I did this, this, and this. I definitely didn't do this. Well, no wonder I feel worse than I usually would. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure.
And that's just opening the possibility for you to have that little fucking dragon come in and just whisper in your ear all of the fucking sweet shitties about how, life is fucked and blah blah blah, and whatever
the sun's gonna explode, and
I mean, I think about the sun exploding. I've been doing like every 30 seconds since you brought it up. I think about the sun exploding. It's paralyzing now.
Yeah. Oh man, I dealt with that like in the 90s. I got over it, and
you know what?
I fought that demon a long time ago.
We should all be scared of Yellowstone before the sun. So.
Oh fuck yeah.
Take stock of that.
Yeah. Just so you know, I've already like mapped out like the wind conditions because a lot of the death and disease and literally the fallout.
Yes.
If Yellowstone explodes, is going to the southeast. So
yeah, Yellowstone is a super volcano.
Mental note there.
It erupts every 600,000 or so years. We're due for it.
I think technically, aren't we like
Yeah.
overdue by a couple hundred years?
Yeah.
If you want to get
I mean,
something like that.
When you go hundreds of thousands of years, I mean the the ratio of like give or take on that is fucking huge. But I mean we're literally due like now. So giddy up, people. The sun might throw. You know what the sun is gonna fuck up? It's gonna throw solar flares our way. It's gonna fuck up satellites, and then our grid is gonna be fucked. And then Yellowstone's gonna explode. Perfect storm, bros. Perfect storm.
Oh man.
And then Kim Jong-un's gonna be dancing on a nuclear missile because
he's going down. If that happens and they lose all their infrastructure, the people will take over. We're going back to the Stone Age.
Those poor
mob
people.
rule.
It's terrible, man. I feel so bad for the people of North Korea. Like people.
Think about this though.
People that don't have
go
sympathy.
ahead.
No, that's fine. People that don't have sympathy for the actual people that are trapped in that fucking controlled state. That sucks, bro. Like to think that all of those people are bad is insane. They're just ruled by this giant handful of shitty ass fucking dictator pieces of shit. And then the rest of it, millions and millions of innocent people just get lumped into this like, fuck North Korea. It's like, nah, man, it's not fuck North Korea. Same thing with Iran. Iran, all of the shitty fucking states, Russia, whatever it is. It's like, dude, those are probably good. No, not even probably. Those are good fucking people that just want to exist, support their families, take care of their children, whatever the fuck it is, survive, have food, controlled by handfuls of fucking pieces of shit people.
Well, I mean, power structures exist to primarily just perpetuate their own control and power and wealth, and
buddy,
at the expense of the mass. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I remember when I came back from Afghanistan.
Oh, God.
It was like 2004 or 3.
I don't fuck with desert things.
And I was at this little house party, and this one guy, he wasn't in the military. He was talking out of his ass, trying to impress some girls.
For sure.
And was like, man, we just need to nuke the entire country. Just nuke Afghanistan and Iraq, turn it into glass. Yeah. I used to fight every battle.
How many times have you heard that, though? I mean...
Oh, so many times. And usually it's not for military people. That's the thing. How many times
have you heard that?
So many times.
Just speaking from the most ignorant place that you can. Yes, you're right. Yeah. An entire population of millions and millions of humans are all genocidal warmongers that fucking want the death of everyone except for them.
Yeah. And I remember saying and trying to reason with this guy who was half drunk at a party, you know, like being like, there's children over there, right? That didn't do anything. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's never going to get fixed. We need to just start over.
That's right.
And
oh my God.
That was like, that was his platform. And
that was his platform. Those were his talking points. He was going to run on that shit. Yeah. I mean, we might have had a president that did run on that shit. So.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time. God damn it. No,
he was old school, ignorant before it was cool again.
It definitely became cool again. It's the new norm.
Yeah. Ugh, no, it's not. It's
yeah.
It's an anomaly. It's not norm.
Did you hear? Our glorious leader was talking. Oh God, I read this shit yesterday, and then I found the audio for it just to make sure it was real. Because you have to fact check your fact checking of your fact checks, because that's the fucking world we live in now. And so, President Trump, to his credit, was talking about basically, and people took a lot of this out of context, and it still sounded silly in written form, and probably the way that he said it, but he was talking about how he was selling out, or like his rallies generated more people coming to them than like Elton John concerts and shit like that. He's like, I've busted more records than Elton John. Elton John has all the records, blah blah blah. And it sounded silly when you read it or hear it, like kind of out of context. And in context, it still sounds shitty because it's who it is. But then he goes on to say that I just use my mouth. I don't have any instruments. And he goes, you know what?
Oh my God.
And I use my brain. And the brain's more important than the mouth. Brain's definitely more important than the mouth. But the mouth still says things, but the brain is definitely more important. And you're just like, what in the fuck?
Just fucking word vomit.
God damn it. And people are cheering. People are cheering like he's a great orator. And he just said the most brilliant Gandhi-esque thing that anyone could come up with.
Well, I don't think they go to rallies to be intellectually stimulated. I think they go to partake in the spectacle.
Yeah, dude. Rock flag, and I don't even know. Yeah. Rock flag and eagle, brother.
Yeah. I don't think politicians should be celebrities. I don't think they should be treated as celebrities. They should be public servants. And they need to stay in their lane. And we live in this weird world, and it's gotten more and more so, but where politicians are treated like fucking royalty.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember that when I was growing up. Like, of course, the president and maybe one or two other people, but now there's so many. I mean, how many politicians can you name? Like, I mean, we could go list dozens, if we went down the list. And I don't think that used to be the case. Maybe I'm speaking, just for myself here, but.
You are just because you are, but no. I mean, I agree. It literally literally these things come down to name recognition. It's fucked up, and I hate even saying that, but all the way from the presidency to senators to congressmen and women, like, it literally comes down to name recognition. Whatever your platform is, you're pretty much gonna toe party lines, unfortunately, because that's the fucking world we live in. And then so you have
to be, we have over the last 2 decades or so, like the 24-hour news cycle on now multiple, dozens of news channels. 24/7 pushing their agenda and showing clips of congressmen, senators, and governors and mayors and presidents and vice presidents and the speaker and the whip, and just nonstop bombarding. And if you follow it, you're bound to you recognize these people, and they become much more, I don't want to say respected, but they're given more credibility than they probably deserve, just because they're on TV all the time.
Yeah, that is kind of a funny thing, that if you have a platform or you're on a well-known media outlet, or like even when you get, and this is probably a dumb example, but even when you get a celebrity who is a well-known public figure who might have zero fucking credibility as a person who is actually knowledgeable on a subject, like, they will get a whole platform to talk about what the fuck their viewpoints are. That might be completely ridiculous, but it's taken, but it can be taken as something that is like a well-informed, oh, well, so-and-so must know what they're talking about just because you know who the fuck they are, or they're famous, or they have money, or who the fuck, I don't fucking know, man.
Are you talking about InfoWars?
Oh, first of all, Alex Jones is a goddamn brilliant man, and I will say nothing blasphemous against his persona. Oh God, the Earth is flat. It's true. Yep. The frogs are gay.
Fucking lizard men running pizza joints or whatever the fuck.
Well, no, I mean, there are lizard people here that are also pedophiles that are propagating their.
Yeah. I remember now.
Yeah, their agenda.
Interdimensional lizard people, pedophiles, or some shit.
Yes, I forgot about the dimensional thing. Yeah, that's actually that's a huge part of it. Yeah. They're evolved interdimensional lizard frog people that are pedophiles.
Their pedophilia is how they get their energy source or some shit.
Probably.
That dude is fucking crazy. Whether he's putting on an act just to be able to go there, that's some next level shit.
He sells great prepper shit though. Everybody that is ready for their bunker to be stockpiled, go to alexjones.com/prepper kit.
Fuck that. I got everything I need, and
Alex, if you're listening, if you want to sponsor the podcast,
fuck that.
Holla at your boy.
I quit. I'm done.
We'll get some cans of beans in here, bro.
Dude,
Jesus beans or whatever the fuck he's peddling.
No, I'm good. I do have a lot of beans though.
I mean, they last a long time apparently. I don't know.
So this is what I was going to talk about when you talked about the solar flare and the satellites going down.
Yeah, let's go solar flare. Fuck yeah, dude.
So like, what I always worry about, the first thing I think about is the food supply. Like, that's going to stop.
Crops will be wiped out. Oh yeah.
I mean, not even just the crops, but like the immediate food supply. How many days until all the supermarkets are bare and people are fighting their neighbors to feed their children?
For sure.
I mean, we're talking like a week. If everything were to stop cold turkey.
Oh yeah.
And infrastructure were to go down, like, it's
people do that when there's like a fucking natural disaster, man. People loot shit immediately. There doesn't even have to be a natural disaster. It just has to be like anything going on. Yeah. Riots, be like, fuck it, let's steal whatever we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the store and there's like an aisle or a couple shelf area that's like bare, I get that fucking panic in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh shit, this is the first sign right now.
For sure. You get those hurricanes
They're
coming
out
through.
Of Pop-Tarts, man.
Everything's gone in the grocery store. That's it. End of times, bro.
Yeah, I went to a gas station like 2 weeks ago and went to get a water, and they were out of water. It was this little rinky-dink ghetto gas station, and like no water. And I started like panicking. I was like, fuck, I gotta go stock up on water.
Yeah, even though you definitely have water that you can get at your house that's maybe not jugged and purified, but it's drinkable as fuck. You might shit yourself, I don't know. As long as you're not in, was it Detroit? What was the place with the shitty water?
Yeah, well, Flint. Was the worst of it, but throughout
Flint,
Michigan.
That's right. They had that shit water. That'll kill you or whatever.
Yep, they still do, man. It's still fucked up.
I remember when I was in California and we had like the gas crisis, and everybody's like, there's no gas. People were fucking sitting in line for 4 hours to get gas at like $12 a gallon or whatever the fuck it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I think back in like, what was it, like 79 or whatever? I think it was sometime during Jimmy Carter's presidency.
Love Jimmy Carter.
What?
Love Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. But sometime during his presidency, there was the huge gas crisis. And if you watch any kind of news, or documentaries on that era, they always show just the fucking lines down the street of people just sitting on their cars waiting to get gas.
Yeah, that's when you got to invade Iraq immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. George Bush was like, I remember that shit. Hold on, I got you. I got you. I know that Al-Qaeda came from this dude in Afghanistan or Pakistan, but Iraq is looking shady as fuck. They got them weapons that we can't prove and never discovered.
They tried to kill my dad.
They're trying to get that. Oh. Sorry, Dave.
Yellow cake.
No, man, for real though. I mean, solar flares are gonna come. Shit's gonna get rowdy, bro. I mean, you know what's fucked up is we say stuff like that in extreme circumstances. That's literally happening to people right now. People in fucking Mexico and Central America fucking can't get jobs, are living below any sort of poverty line that we have ever created in the United States, and living in fucking shanties, dirt fucking floors, the worst. And then we're sitting here and we're fucking confused as to why they're trying to come into the United States of America. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Of course they're doing anything they can to get out of that situation. You would do the exact same fucking thing. And for us to try to fucking demonize these people as being, they're law breaking, but fuck, man, I don't blame them.
That's
for
the thing. Not even
laws.
all of them are law breaking.
Fuck.
I get people trying to come over illegally. Like,
yeah,
I get both sides of it. Like, okay, let's do the humane thing, process them, have some a system set up that is a little bit more efficient.
Get them on the books.
But when you're
taxes,
stopping the legal immigration,
wage.
That's when it gets super shady. That's what's fucked up, is when you try and
it gets gross.
Bottleneck the legal immigration
to
where there's such a backlog of years and years that you have no choice. What are you supposed to do? Like, are you going to let your kids die just so you don't piss off some rednecks in the South?
So you have to be a wealthy person in Central America to go through the years of whatever the fucking background checks or whatever it is, and then to pay all of the fees and all of that. Like, that does not exist. Nobody has the resources to go ahead and do that except for a select few people that can do it fucking legally. And you're literally just sticking people with no other option other than trying to do the best that they can to try to come here illegally. And to think that they're coming here illegally without a multitude of risks to their own health, well-being, and life is fucking ridiculous. They're not trotting over the fucking border and being like, I made it to America. Like, no, dude. They're spending every dime they have to pay coyotes to move them from one location to another, to hop on a train that hopefully won't fucking run them over, to get their kids across. And they're doing it for their children so that, and they'll stay behind. And they'll send their kids. Or they're fucking swallow drugs so they can get enough money to get across the border and then fucking be good. Like, this whole thing of goddamn rhetoric of Central America sending their rapists and drug dealers and all that shit is a fucking lie. They exist. They exist everywhere across the globe and in this country. And it's not specific to Central America. How the fuck do you think you get vegetables to your plate every day? Migrant workers.
No, for sure.
Those motherfuckers
100%.
work for pennies illegally so that you can get fucking food, and they work hard as shit. You would never do that job. I would nenever do that job.
Well, farmers, I mean, it's common sense. Like, if you look into the issue at all, you'd know that farmers say when you cut back on the visa work programs and legal migrant workers, and stop that whole system from working, their crops die because they can't pick them.
For sure.
They lose money.
For
People don't get food. The cost of food goes up. Like, it affects everybody negatively.
Absolutely. Restaurants would be fucked.
Yep.
Dude, like, I mean, you can... And beyond restaurants, honestly, your grocery stores would not be stocked with fresh fucking food if that shit did not exist.
And we don't even have to talk about the humane reasons.
Exactly.
Like, what would...
We're talking like
what
social...
would Jesus do?
Yeah, socioeconomic reasons, which are honestly the lower part of the totem pole of what should be fucking important in taking care of people. Or being just empathetic and humane to any group of people.
Yeah.
Right, and honestly, just talking in dollars and cents, you do that so you can hopefully appeal to the masses of being like, do you not see the economic fucking downfall that will occur if we really enforce this bullshit? And you shouldn't even have to fucking do that. You should be like, guess what? Kids are getting pulled from their parents. What the fuck is wrong with you right now? Are you kidding me? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Is. And it's sad, but I think obviously the reason is you have to try and calm the personal fears that are being stoked with this issue. They're taking our jobs, and
whose
all
jobs
the
are they
fucking
taking?
tired. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, they're not taking anybody's jobs.
Are you gonna go work construction for fucking $8 an hour in Arizona when it's 110 degrees?
If they want to, they could do it right now. It's not. Yes. It's.
Do you want to go wash dishes for $5? You can go get that job.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Jose won't, and fucking Matt, whatever Friedman can fucking work that job. Get the fuck out of here.
But stating the factual economic benefits.
Yeah.
Is the only way to try and counteract the fears of somebody else coming over here and taking the good life from you, or to try and, put, in a lot of cases, your economic failures or your situation, which might not be your fault. Maybe you're born into a bad situation in a poor family in a poor area.
A lot of that
regardless of the color of your skin or your background. I mean, it happens to people all over the world.
Yeah.
And so you're being told by people on TV constantly that these people with the darker skin are the reason that you're living the shitty life that you're living.
Yep.
So don't blame us.
Yep. What jobs are they taking? Come on.
Yeah. Come on. No, it's all bullshit, and it's fear mongering, and it's disgusting.
Are they even taking your factory jobs that are they working coal mines?
No.
That for some reason everybody wants to fucking hold on to?
Like,
get out of
get mad at maybe the Trumps who have most of their business overseas. Ivanka has all of her business is manufactured overseas. Not a goddamn thing is over here.
Goddamn right.
But
I don't know.
Facts. And stuff.
I mean, you're right. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I don't know. But what? You owe me a clown story, apparently.
Oh, yeah. So, oh, man.
Yeah, go full clown.
So I came home. I was in high school, and I came home with some friends, and, we had been drinking a little bit, and it was like a Friday night, and my mother was going through some issues at this time, and she had been collecting my whole life. She had been collecting these like porcelain dolls and clown dolls and things like that, and they're all over her room.
I hate that
yeah, right?
So much. I hate it so much.
I'm walking by her bedroom to go to my bedroom, and I see she's like sitting up on like almost like Indian style in the middle of her bed watching TV in a room, and she's got like a 5-gallon, no, not a 5-gallon, like one of those big black trash bins in her room.
Okay.
And all of her fucking dolls are just filling this thing up. Like, she's just throwing them all in there. And I kind of look at her, and I'm
really
half
uncomfortable
drunk
right now.
Oh, tell me about it, man. I live this shit. And so I was like, "What's going on, Mom?" And sorry, Mom, if you ever hear this, nobody tag her in this, please. Anyway, so I'm like, "What's going on, Mom?" And she's like, come here." And she says she went and talked to a psychic, and the psychic was able to pull out of her repressed memories this childhood trauma. I'll just leave it at that.
Dude, I hate this so much right now. All right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And she has, man, her eyes were like fucking wide, crazy. And anyways, but the trauma had dolls associated in the incident. And she said, the psychic told me that I've been keeping this with me in the form of these dolls, so I had to get rid of them all. And I'm just looking down at these creepy, like, porcelain faces looking up at me.
Oh my god!
And I just kind of like
and make a movie
backstepped. I just backstepped out of the room. I was like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and take off. And I went into the living room and told my friends, I was like, dude, my mom is fucking nuts.
Yeah, we're gonna go do anything else right now.
Yeah,
anything.
I think we ended up just going out into the woods and just like setting up a little tent.
Literally anything else.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
God damn it. All right, so, bro.
Yeah, so fuck clowns.
Dude, fuck clowns. Fuck clowns and dolls. Dude. They like keep you. They steal souls, right? It's fucked up, man.
Apparently, I mean that's they do
I'm
something
done
like
with that shit. I don't fuck with dolls.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that shit in my life.
Nope.
That shit's terrible. All right, well let's end on that creepy ass note.
Yeah,
Hope nobody sleeps tonight. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for hanging with us and listening to two people who have no idea what they're talking about. Talk about some depressive shit and the solar flares and the sun exploding, and everybody should be scared of Yellowstone. Fuck you. Be scared. Go to alexjones.com.
Fuck this. Come on. I'm out of here.
All right. Love y'all.